I never cares about people's opinions and like of my life and everything. I even doesn't want to listen my mom's opinion, but
That's different though.
yeah. And then,
There's the internet and then there's your mom. When you were filming, did you basically film in order? Or how much was, because it's almost like everything is almost in one place.
mostly I think in order because of the set situation. Some scenes from the end episode came front. Yeah, that was the time where I had so much pressure. But no, yeah, but especially the games.
Yes.
It was in order, so we can have the sense of where we have to go. And while we are shooting, the director thought this line should come from this character, not to this character. Then he moved around, and then we all agree with that. Like he always thinking of each character, so we have to believe what he said. So maybe we were like too much making joke about that. So
I understand that. I understand that. Yeah, sure.
So we didn't feel that intense. We were more like joyful
Yes.
to be intense. I think,
Yes.
and as
That's
an
wonderful.
actor,
Joyful to be intense. That's great. That's great.
it was just as an actor to have those kind of scene is I think exciting. Yeah,
It's very exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
지금 한 대 더 쳐줄까 네 뒤통수?
하지마 제발. 제발.
떨지 마 병신아. 그러다 걸리면 죽어.
Maybe it's weird to say it, but while I'm shooting my death scene, I was so happy. I was most comfortable scenes I ever had. It's because I've been living with my character over like few months, and then there is a time that I have to let her go, and I kind of feel like I can happily let her go because I can understand, maybe not fully, but I'm the one who can understand her most in this world. So I know her like a stress, and I know how her life was so struggle and hard. So I was like, it wasn't that bad or sad that it was like happiness that. It's weird to say it, but I felt that. So
I feel I can relate because it's basically when you get to really express the truth of a character, even when you're saying goodbye. It's very satisfying. Yeah.
내 동생 꼭 챙겨준다고.
Killing Eve, you've been like filming over 4 years, right? Yeah. How was your experience?
I would say for me, Killing Eve was probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever had because I felt like so much of the entire show is so about the internal life, at least of Eve.
What does it matter if the cells keep dividing and it's endless?
Eve, all we can do in life is try to find some joy in the little things.
When you have a character that you get to play for like a long time, and I think this is a really great thing about television, is that you are creating her or you're creating them in real time. So I really felt pleased that I saw an image of myself as Eve from the very first season, and I saw an image of Eve in the fourth season, and I felt they looked like two different people. There's a lot of human nature and human elements that really go into saying that this person has changed. This character has changed. So I felt ultimately, emotionally, for Eve to start out as in, I have a regular life. I have a regular life. I'm kind of basically happy. But at the very end, she's lost everything, but is also in survival and has gained more of herself as a whole woman. Because I just think this is true. Not that it always has to be this way, but it is. When things are difficult, that is a real opportunity to grow. So you see Eve go through difficult challenges, difficult, just like your character goes through difficult challenges.
Right.
And so even as your character, 새벽 starts very closed, right? The way that she opens up a little bit is authentic. We see how she has, because she's trusted this character, because she knows you have this responsibility. But that's just not easy to do, and I found it very challenging on Killing Eve. But that joyful, satisfying, because I felt like what I laid down was real, at least hopefully. For me. Yeah.
I kind of 100% agree with that, and then it's just like so inspired me, because I really wanted to, while I'm like studying acting still, trying to figure it out, the complexity of human being. It's not just like there is only one answer. Sometimes we're like simple, like we just want to have soju, so we are going for soju. But like sometimes we cannot say this person is this, you know? But like what I kind of admire about your acting was every kind of scene, your face has that complexity. You just don't build just one thing. But like human, always when you face with this difficult situation, you kind of feel so many things. Like in your head, in your mind, you don't know what's like exactly happening to you, what you feel right now. But when the time passed by, you realize maybe that was that feeling.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't know what you're feeling.
But like, as an actor, we have to kind of
do it. It is our job to. It's our job to
so
be able
hard,
to.
yeah.
It's our job to be able to choose in this moment. I'm going to choose to show that she doesn't know what she's feeling this way, because ultimately you have to build something.
Right.
So how do you want to tell the character's story before the end, and what do you want that ending and that death to be and to mean?
Right.
And, you know, myself as Eve, it's like when you have a character that I was able to develop for 4 seasons, I thought a lot, absolutely, about what I want that end to mean.
I think our acting complete when we are doing interview.
Oh, interesting.
So like when we are shooting, we trying to have plan, but we couldn't know 100% of this character or this situation, I think. But after the TV show came out, we watched it and we got the reaction of people, and then we organized it. Maybe that was that, and that was that. And also there is my experience while filming or like having this reaction. And also after like saying in the interview, I think it's complete.
You're right. I like when you start getting questions about what is this, what is that, I think that's honestly sometimes the first time I start thinking of what happened. What did I want to say? There's so many things that it's not, the planning is not the right word, but you're thinking about in the creation of it, but you don't know ultimately what it's going to be.
Right.
You are the same person. You are exactly the same.
I'm not here to argue.
Maybe I've changed. Have you thought of that?
Maybe I don't need any. What are you doing?
Praying for you.
For Killing Eve, I think you build up like the relationship of the other actor's character, like with the Killing Eve and also the chair with Villanelle and the Bill. It's so complicated. So like, how do you kind of communicate with the other co-actor? Like,
That's so interesting. You're choosing Jay Duplass, who played Bill in The Chair, and Jodie Comer, who played Villanelle in Killing Eve. Completely different. different.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
completely different, right? So you're talking about, let's say, with Villanelle and with Jodie. Jodie and I didn't really talk a lot.
Oh.
No, we didn't really talk a lot because there was so much magic that was going on that we both knew we're not going to touch it. We're just not going to talk about it. It's going to be very ambiguous. And I think that's some of what it really works between the two characters. You don't know what's happening between them. They don't really know what's happening between them.
Right.
That's also the same feeling in like the kind of romance that Ji-eun is having with Bill in the chair. But they have a very long-standing relationship. There's a lot of friendship that's going on there. But the difference is that I had 4 years with Jodie. I had 3 months, let's say, same like, with Jay Duplass who plays Bill. It's very interesting. Per show, you get a different actor. You get a certain type of openness. There is a lot of physicality that actually Jay Duplass and I found. So in the chair, my character Ji-eun and Bill, we're both professors and we're long-term friends, but there's a romance happening. We found that whenever we were in a scene, we would somehow immediately get physically close. Or we would fight over something, or we would try to do something, and always those physical moments always basically mimicked having sex. So we were like always like fighting, but it looked like we were having sex. Or we're trying to get something, but it looks like we're having sex. So it was actually hilarious how that just naturally developed because you have storytelling physically. But it was because I would say Jay Duplass, I love him. He's great, great actor, and he's very open.
Give me those keys. Oh my, stop it. Give me the keys. Give me the keys. You're not the chair anymore. Give over my.
Oh no! Get off!
Yes, yes.
Oh my God!
Sorry. Oh, no, we're just.
We were both willing and open. Also, it was very fast. Killing Eve was not necessarily fast in the kind of like, we got to madly create something. But the chair was. It was very, very fast. So we were just like, okay, wide open. Okay, let's get naked. Okay, let's do this. And we would touch each other a lot. We would touch each other a lot because why? We had to find a quick way of becoming friends, but having the history of being friends for a long time. So we would actually touch each other. So then when we would be in a scene, there is a bond.
Just wait. If we get together, no one is going to take me seriously. It'll be like, he only supports her ideas so he can get in our pants.
I genuinely support your ideas.
As a Korean American, to have this link with a native Korean superstar, you know what I mean, is really important, kind of monumental for me. And I think this is a real change for us as Korean Americans. And I've always been interested in the native Korean perspective. Like, how do you see us as Korean Americans?
For me, I've been thinking a lot about that. When I came to US for campaigning for Squid Game, I met a lot of Asian American people and says to me that, oh, thank you for representing us. We are so proud of you. So I was, at the beginning, it was just happy. But like, I also kind of think about, am I available to get to know like Asian American community that well? Because I came from Korea. I lived in Korea almost of my whole life. Am I allowed to represent them? And like, I have kind of extra responsibility of kind of, I should be well, you know?
I thought a lot about that too for you, and I just want to, I want to take that off of you because it is a large responsibility that it feels familiar to me that you have to pay attention to, and also it cannot crush you, So while those questions are, I think, very important, because like this. So the other day I was driving on Sunset Boulevard. So on Sunset Boulevard, it's like you're driving down like American capitalism, and you see like what Hollywood or North America, capitalism is showing what we should follow, what we should buy. And you are on there. You are like on the side of a building. So I'm driving, and we're like, oh, there's my girl. But then also I will say, there was probably 2 more billboards where there is another Asian model and another model, I think maybe she's mixed race. And I remember feeling like I don't know how many times I have driven on Sunset Boulevard, like a billion. And I don't think I would have seen that 4 years ago. You know,
4 years ago?
Yeah, I don't think I would have seen that 4 years ago. No, I don't. I mean, I'm only talking 4 years ago because I've had this question, I think, my entire career, which is, how much do you think things have changed for Asian Americans, blah, 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 blah. And I will only say that it was, for me, maybe 2019, that I feel for us as Asian Americans, things have changed. So I understand that question that you have. And I'll also say, not to put any kind of pressure on you, but you are in the image making a very important part for, I think, Asian Americans, in the way that I do think the change and the opening and the growth is coming, and in diversity, not only racially, but in every other kind of way. So while I want to thank you for that, because I do, I also want to relieve you of any kind of, it's impossible to relieve you of the pressure, but I feel like you know how to be yourself.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying, but it's just, all I can do is just keep trying, not to overthink about this responsibility, but also cares about this responsibility. Like trying to make the balance. Because it was just my first project. I was like, okay, I'm going to be an actor. And then I did audition, and then I got it. I was so happy. And then while I'm filming, I was so happy. And when the Squid Game came out, it's just like going like,
Yeah.
certainly,
Yeah.
oh, Ho-Yeon, you are here.
An
So-
international superstar.
And
Yes.
then like people recognize me, and even like you was, for me, I was like a little child in Korea, and Grey's Anatomy was like a huge thing in Korea because of you. And then you're kind of icon of us. And then when I met you at SAG Awards, you know me. And that was like, wow. And then like there is like a bunch of people that already know me.
Yeah.
That feeling was like weird, but also and also like, oh wow, it's maybe like good to have this like accessible like to in this community. And then it's very nice to feel this accessible like feeling. But also at the same time, I'm getting scared. Like people are watching me. Things that I'm saying or like going where I'm going, it's like people starting to
Pay attention to.
yeah. And I never cares about that many people's opinions and like of my life and everything. I even doesn't want to listen my mom's opinion, but
That's different though.
yeah. And then,
There's the internet and then there's your mom. Go on.
and but now I think I'm trying to get used to it, and then trying to not go too extreme this side or too extreme that side.
내 앞에 있던 남자가 어떻게 죽었는지 알아? 자기 편인 줄 알았던 인간한테 목이 꺾였어. 당신들 나 믿어? 난 당신들 못 믿는데.
The position that you are in right now, as amazing and fantastic, and all the things that I think people imagine it to be, it's very hard what you're doing. It's very difficult what you're doing, and it's very isolating because
Right.
not many people at all understand your experience. So how have you felt so far that you are keeping healthy, keeping balance?
I think I ask a lot of questions to people who's better, more experienced, like Director Hwang of Squid Game and executive producer, or 정재 선배님 and 해수 선배님, like the people around me. And even they don't have like a proper answer on my question, it's just good to share about like doubts and like thoughts in me right now. So it's helpful to just keep sharing, not to be too much isolated with closest people, I think. But how about you? I just wanted to ask. I always ask to 정재 and 해수 선배님 and director Hwang, how you deal with like this crazy journey.
I feel like yours is like this.
Yeah.
And that's just different. I think that it's, you know, I can talk about, let's say, the thing that I think that is the closest in relationship is when Grey's Anatomy came. And I think that my life changed very much. And it's tricky to kind of imagine, because this is almost 20 years ago. So the context is very different, but the stress is the same, or the confusion is the same. And I think that's why my question to you is, how are you taking care of yourself? Is that I think when people are in extremely amazing, privileged, heavy responsibility positions like this, your personal health, you know what I mean, is, I think I realized came first. Because I feel like, honestly, I got sick. I think my whole body was very, very sick. Even though you keep on working, it's like, right? But it's just like, oh, I can't sleep.
Right.
Oh, you know, my back hurts, or I don't know what's wrong with my skin. You know, these are the things that kind of come in, and you realize, that you learn that, you know, to answer your question, it's like I feel like I learned that I had to take care of my health first. But that's not only your body, right? That is your soul. That is definitely your mind.
Right.
You know, so even those things like doubt, question, because you can't ultimately depend on anyone else. You have to, no matter, somehow find it within yourself. You ask people's opinions, yes, of course, but then ultimately, you know, we are alone with each other, with ourselves.
Right. I think for that, finally, like not last 2 weeks ago, I went back to Korea, and then I took just 1 week break, and I didn't kind of answered all that emails about like schedule and like people's like contact, because I just kind of think that, because before that, going back to Korea, I was in London and I was sick, like literally.
So sick.
Yeah, so sick, my body. Because like, I think my mental was kind of didn't realize that how much
Run down.
Yeah. But like when your body got sick, and that moment that you realize that, oh, maybe this was too much. So I realized that, oh, maybe let's be healthy first and then do the job. But it's not gonna be easy, and then I still gonna make mistakes. But yeah, just trying. I think I'm struggling, but trying. Yeah.
The ability to be present is a big part of our job.
Right.
So I have a question for you regarding modeling. Because I mean, knowing you for the short time that I have, you are such a like this, right? This is how I know you. And then like your modeling persona is like someone else. So it's like when I met you, I'm like, that is not what I expected. Can you tell me a little bit, because obviously you're very practiced, you're very experienced as a model. What is that creation of that persona?
I think there is some different part of process doing modeling and acting, I think. While I was kind of practicing to be a model, I was more about focusing, keep practicing and practicing.
Meaning walking, meaning how you look, what is that?
Walking, I practiced a lot. In Korea, I think there's a lot of kinds of academies, and there is model academy also. I went to model academy and learned how to walk. And I read fashion magazines a lot, and then I like Googled the models that I love, and then follow their pose.
And they never smile.
Yeah, they never smile.
I was like, you are a smiley person.
Yeah.
And the model person never smiles. No, but go on, I see. So you have influences
Right.
that you are following, and you started developing your
Yeah.
own style based on their style, or?
Yeah, and then I think I was more about, I focused on more like muscles, movements, and the posing, like angling, like those kind of things. And like while I was getting into like watching movie, while I'm doing modeling, I kind of fall in love with feeling, you know. And then at the same time, I went to a lot of like a museum to like see the art, and then I kind of realized the sense of how to feel of watching something at that time, I think. And then I started thinking about, as an artist, how you gonna, like how you feel. And I think while I'm preparing and learning acting, I try to combine two things, like my muscle movements, about angling and everything, like, but also more focused about how human feels, like
Yes.
this, like at this situation, how Sandra Oh feels about this plant and how I feel about this plant, how people
Feel about the plant.
yeah. And yeah, I think so. Now I'm kind of trying to still keep thinking about having this curiosity about human beings, like what's humans' thoughts and everything. And but still, while I'm shooting Squid Game, I never thought about acting. Like in front of the camera, there could be angle and there is things that you have to care about. But I couldn't think about
That's
skill.
too much. Too much for the first job.
Yeah.
Too much. Just know your lines and just show up. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just only kind of, at the beginning it was worse. I was like only thought about how to be present, like as my character in this situation, but I couldn't think about there is a camera this side or those kind of things. But slowly I can learn, because like the actors on the set and the director of Squid Game, they were so nice people. They just show me. This
By
is-
example.
Yeah, examples.
Yeah.
And then Squid Game was unique because of like our situation of characters. We are on the same situation. Yeah,
yeah,
but
sure.
different character has different reactions. So it was like total acting academy to like watching someone's.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
We should
Yeah, it's
wrap up.
it
Thank
was
you so much.
great to spend time with you.